Hello, 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 hello. Hello, everyone. It is Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk early, a little early today. Santa brought it early on a Tuesday morning, and we are in week two, technically, of the football season. Back into week one, start of week two. I'm excited. We got Mr. Hunter Muller here, fresh out of the gym, so he's ready.
Pumped up.
Completely finished all pre and post workout drinks over there. And Alex here on the ones and twos again. We do have the soundboard. We won't abuse it today, but we'll hit it a couple times probably. And we got a big show because obviously we had some football on Friday night. And so I told myself today, Andy, don't screw around at the beginning of the show today because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. So Hunter, before we do, who are we powered by, and where can you watch this show?
Well, we are powered by Fairway Food Stores. Go get your meat. I always say that every week, I feel like, but you can find us on Washington Live's YouTube, where we're streaming live right now, Washington Live's Facebook, Mount Pleasant Live Facebook, and Fairfield Live's Facebook as well. We're also on Spotify under Washington Live if you want to listen to us, but there's also some video in with that now. I always forget about that, but
you know how cool
audio
it
and
is
video.
On Spotify, when you click it and it's one that has the video.
The
and
podcast, like, yeah.
Looks cool, looks professional, looks like we're a season 2 show, like a real show.
This is season 2, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is. It's season 2. It's week 2, and we're gonna start today with a recap of week 1.
Yeah, it was a busy week 1, and yeah, some ups and downs for some of our area squads, but
yes, some ups and downs, some delays, some Saturday game,
delays.
all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm gonna start us off here, and I'll recap you, Mr. Hunter, on my fun at the Fairfield Mount Pleasant War on 34 football game, season opener on Friday night. First one for Mount Pleasant's coach John Bolin, and it was a historic day for Fairfield coach Nate Wheaton, who has now put together a 3-game win streak over the Fairfield's chief rivals. Reminder, when Coach Wheaton came into the program, Mount Pleasant had kind of controlled this rivalry for the couple years before he got there. On Fairfield, on Friday night, it was Fairfield 38 and Mount Pleasant 14. Hunter, this game was a lot closer than 24 points, in my opinion. But at the same time, Fairfield kind of seemed as though they could controlled most of the game at the beginning when the game was close. So Fairfield fed junior running back Kason Miller a lot. I was going to rip on I can't rip on the Mount Pleasant broadcast because they're calling him Carson Miller. And I said, man, how do they call him Carson? There's no R in his name. Check the roster. It said Carson Miller on the roster. So no one to blame there. But Kason, if you guys are also fans of wrestling and football, you guys know that he was hurt for baseball or wrestling and baseball. You guys know he was hurt for baseball season. Got the word, I think he told me this summer, that he was going to be able to come back for the full football season. Worked his way back and got the ball 25 times for 236 yards and 3 touchdowns against the rival Panthers. And in fact, they only completed 1 pass on the day, and it was to him. So he looked great. Obviously, he's shorter, not smaller because he's built enough, but he's not a what you'd think would be a run you over type running back. But he was bobbing and weaving. He was getting to the outside. He was running through people. He had a great game. He scored right away, and then the theme for Mount Pleasant was after Fairfield scored. They seemed to immediately strike back because of their return game. Jarrah Turner it has already, kind of stuck out as one of the returners of the year so far. The first kick that he received bounced on the ground. This is late in the first quarter, right after Fairfield scored. Couple bounces, scoops it. It was one of those things where I had a friend there helping me kind of cover and watch for me. And the second he scooped the ball, we both kind of went, oh, like he looks like he's like he had a nice little burst there. I don't even think he was touched. Immediately just blasted through for an 85-yard kick return touchdown. Fairfield would then go up 21-7 on a couple of rushing touchdowns. Nate Consul and Kason Miller scored to make it 21-7. And immediately, Jarrah Turner took it all the way back to the 50 and then caught a touchdown pass. So it was 21-14. But in the second half, it was all after a little lightning delay. It was all Fairfield. Trojans just kept running the ball really well. Mount Pleasant didn't move the ball great, passing or throwing the ball. Cooper Coleman did have 65 yards and a touchdown for the Panthers. Peyton Walker had 35 yards on the ground, but it was all Fairfield Trojans in the second half. We heard Miller stats. Wyatt Johnson, 97 yards, all pretty much right up the middle from the fullback position. Luke Consul, I think I just called him Nate, which I believe is his brother's name just a second ago, but he scored, as I said. And then the last touchdown of the game was the second interception for Mr. Talon Bates. He had a falling pick early in the fourth quarter, late in the third, and then he had the backbreaker interception returned for a touchdown in the last few minutes. So Fairfield 1-0 and Mount Pleasant 0-1.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about this being, last week we were talking about our games to watch, and I was keeping up on Twitter while I was at my game, but, it seemed like it was, like you said, a lot closer than it was, ended up being, but I'd say yet again another nice little showing from the Mount Pleasant Fairfield rivalry, and you mentioned as Fairfield kind of owns that battle right now in the last couple of years, but I'm sure it's going to keep going as the years go on, and proved again to be a nice little competition between the two teams.
Yeah, it did, and I think Fairfield's pretty well set up with that running game. Last year it was Fairfield's passing game. I covered it last year too. It was Fairfield's passing game that burned Mount Pleasant. This year it was a lot on the ground. So you, before we talk about the Old Demons, you were at a different game. You were at one of our marquee small school games, Columbus and Mediapolis. This one shocked me. We knew Mediapolis was going to be good, but what did you see over there, and when could you kind of sense that it was going a little wrong for the old Wildcats?
Yeah, well, first off, obviously Columbus rated number 5 coming in the preseason Gazette preseason rankings there in Class A. Mediapolis just outside the top 10 in 2A. I think they were the next team out, so 11th if you want to look at it that way. Somewhere around there receiving votes. Now they're in the top 10 after this week 1, but we can get to that afterwards. But yeah, we expected it to be a pretty good game. I probably didn't expect it to be as one-sided as it was. Mediapolis wins this one pretty dominant fashion, 33-7. From the get-go, I mean, really the first quarter, the tone was set. I think the biggest difference for me was Mediapolis had a ton more players, so they were subbing people out consistently.
Oh, yeah.
The heat, it was hot, and it just kind of seemed like they were always fresh, and their defense was ridiculous. Obviously, we know Columbus likes to primarily run the ball. Really, the defensive front was about as good as you probably could get in first night of action. In the first quarter, Drew Miller, who is Mediapolis quarterback, threw a pair of touchdowns, and after the first, they led 13-0. Defense is why I think why I say the biggest difference was is because the Bulldogs only gave up 1 first down in the first quarter alone. Really, it just kind of that script, I would say, kind of continued, through the night. At the half, Mediapolis led 26-0. Big breakthrough for Columbus did come. Caden Amagon, who would finish with 113 yards on 20. I think 20. We know he's going to get the ball a lot. So
yeah,
26 carries, 113 yards, 1 touchdown, which was with about 3 minutes to go in the game there, but. The biggest break for Columbus, I think, that could have turned the tide. This was like kind of one of those like deflating moments, I feel like, in this game. Late in the second quarter, Amagon finally, we know he has the potential to break away big runs.
Yeah, he does.
He broke up the middle, kind of did a cut to the inside, and would have been an 80-yard touchdown. Called back on holding, and that they had to settle for, they ran a couple more plays there. I believe it was on second down. Had to run a couple more plays, had to punt again. So that was kind of like the deflating moment. I would say, not much throughout the game. They got, much more moving out that, but, give credit where credit is due for the Mediapolis defense. Obviously, very, I guess, positive showing for them. Mm-hmm. And really, their passing game was good. Drew Miller, as I mentioned, had 2 touchdowns in that first quarter. He ended with 3 on the day. And then Jackson Hutchinson was running the ball real well, 21 carries, 113 yards for them as well. And after heading into the second half, Mediapolis, I mean, the first drive, lasted over 7-8 minutes. I mean, Mediapolis, I think it was a touchback on the kickoff, and then Mediapolis held on to the ball all the way down to under 5 minutes on their first drive in the second half.
A dagger when you're trying to come back.
And Columbus was able to force the punt, or was able to get a fourth down stop, got the ball back, but now they're kind of 4 and out for them there. And then Mediapolis found the end zone one more time. In the fourth quarter, late in the third with 1:10 to go, led 33-0. And then late in the game in the fourth, like I said, Amagon was able to punch it in, but by then it was too little too late. So, the Wildcats fall, like I mentioned, 33-7 to Mediapolis there. But, bigger school, you can look at it that way. Obviously, Coach David Luke of Columbus there, came in, saying they wanted to win, but he mentioned they just got outplayed. He said he didn't have the guys ready, and Mediapolis controlled in all facets of the game. So, they're looking for a bounce back week, going up against Wapello, I believe, this week. So, and I think they can take some positives away, and I think they'll bounce back because obviously they were a great team this year, brought a lot back, and they showed bright moments, bright spots in this game, had some bright moments. So I'm looking for the Wildcats to kind of show out this week, bounce back, get a win.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Now Mediapolis is now ranked. So the Wildcats were 5 in Class A. They are now out. Mediapolis is now number 8 in Class 2A. So big difference there. And I'll jump into the Washington Demons. They were on the road. Struggled offensively. Not at first. They got a touchdown pass from Logan McDonald and Mason Morgan in the first quarter. We went up 6-0. But the Indians scored the next 22 points. It was 22-6 after 3 quarters. It just seemed like Washington just couldn't get much on the ground or in the air, kind of in those middle quarters. They eventually scored. Cale Williams ran in a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and the 2-point conversion did make it 22-14. So Washington had a chance with an onside kick to possibly recover the ball and drive down and tie it. Onside kick didn't work out, and Oskaloosa with the dagger touchdown on offense the other way. So 28-14. That rivalry has went not really rivalry, but it's that series has went back and forth since 2008. Oski, Washington, Washington, Oski, Washington, Oski, Washington, Oski. So just kind of no one can kind of get a grip on that series. Obviously, Washington was debuting a lot of varsity players, at least in new spots, with what they lost last year. Logan McDonald, 95 yards and a touchdown through the air. Cale Williams, 57 yards and a touchdown. And Mason Morgan had 31 yards and a touchdown receiving. So from the looks of it, with the stats, Washington threw the ball 26 times and carried it 37. So they had a nice balanced attack there. They had 5 kids catch passes. Nobody went over the 31-yard mark. Luke Beaton-Blossom just had 4 catches in that, but Oski seems to have slowed him a little bit because that was one of those kids you might think is going to get a breakaway. Only two defensive takeaways for the Demons, both by Mason Morgan, a fumble recovery and a interception. So a great statistic night from Mason Morgan.
Yep.
The 2 takeaways, the touchdown, but couldn't quite work out for the Demons. They have a pretty tough one with Burlington coming in this week, and who knows what's going to happen. Home opener in Case Field. I know what's going to happen. There's not going to be a lot of parking.
Yep.
It's going to be a pretty wild atmosphere. That you can kind of guarantee. By the way, Fairfield is down in Fort Madison. I forgot to say everyone.
Another tough matchup.
Another tough matchup. Fort Madison just beat Burlington and a grinder, 15-12. And I think that one was delayed a little bit from the weather. And then Mount Pleasant will be at West Burlington, Notre Dame.
Burlington, Notre Dame with a huge win.
Yeah, and they had
dominated.
A big win. Yeah, I didn't think they would.
Who was that? Who did they play?
West Burlington.
Off the top of my head.
It was right now on Varsity Band, I'll tell you.
It was a huge.
Wapello, 40-66. Yeah. So although two of the big schools are on the road, they're pretty darn close by. So not a long trip for Mount Pleasant or Fairfield fans. Washington fans will be home. We were going to take a little commercial break.
Yep.
And when we come back, we got more football.
Yep.
More football.
Some great games.
There are going to be a lot of people happy that 2 of the little windows are football windows.
Yep.
That's not all the time in fall sports. But
No.
so we're going to talk about some great games, some huge wins for some of our smaller schools, and then a little look ahead to next week. So we'll see you in a few minutes here.
Yeah.
Federation Bank is a locally owned bank providing award-winning customer service. We believe that we are more than just a federation of banks, but a federation of communities, serving Brighton, Richland, Wellman, and Washington, Iowa. Federation Bank's highly skilled staff is here to make sure you are able to accomplish your personal and professional goals, whatever they may be. Federation Bank, your family bank.
Hospice isn't a place, it's a type of care that focuses on living. Servicing a 7-county area, the Hospice of Washington County staff of nurses, social work, hospice aides, spiritual and grief support, volunteers, music and massage therapists are able to provide free end-of-life care where the patient lives. We write wills, give consent for organ donation, but rarely is there a plan for what we would want the final phase of our lives. At Hospice of Washington County, we encourage our patients to be in charge of their healthcare decisions while maintaining quality of life.
Tammy takes the time and has the personal interest in each one of us. I don't worry about what's going to happen because I know my policy is taken care of.
She pulls what I need and puts it together, which is the program I get from her.
Every year she calls around September or so and says, there's changes again, and I'm going to do the best thing for you. It's been perfect. She does a great job.
At the Capper Auto Group, we put our customers' needs first and understand that everyone is as different as the vehicle they select. We offer new Ford, Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge, and Ram vehicles in a friendly environment that puts you in the driver's seat. When it comes to service, we maintain factory-trained technicians and competitive pricing. The Capper Auto Group still believes that service after the sale provides the best customer experience. Come see the Capper experience for yourself.
When you aspire to be a dancer, you are both an artist and an athlete. Your strength combines with beauty and grace seamlessly. Your efforts result in enhanced coordination, the ability to cooperate and compromise with others, and the confidence to perform in front of an audience. Not to mention the fun you will have and the lifelong friendships you will develop. We are enrolling now for fall classes, and we would love to see you shine like the star that you are. Join us for Dance and Tumbling at Stairway to the Stars. Please visit our website for online registration.
I am Melissa Westfall with Homegirl Realty. Heather and Charlotte and I have worked together for many years, and we have always had a vision to have a business together.
I'm Charlotte Howard, and the good news is we bring a very high level of experience. We have a combined 80 plus years of experience in this real estate marketplace.
I'm Heather Merrick, and Homegirl Realty brings a lot of things to the table. We have phenomenal communication with our clients, buyers and sellers, to make sure things are going smoothly and you don't have anything to worry about.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Southeast Iowa Union.
Sports Talk.
Powered by
Fairway Food Stores.
And if you're watching this, you're watching it on
Washington Live, Fairfield Live, Pleasant Live, or on Spotify.
All right. Let's see. Why don't we hit the soundboard real quick? Just a soundboard. Don't do the really long one. That might be the really long one.
I couldn't hear it. I don't know what.
Oh, we don't know what. I think that one was. I actually think that I can't remember because there's 8 of them. I think that might have been the wah 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 and then laughter. We're gonna find out though on the rewatch.
Yep.
We should have a rewatch party.
We should.
Like everyone comes in and we all watch it together. Bless you.
Excuse me.
We are going to talk a little more football. Hunter, you have the roundup. This was a crazy weekend in football. I will say, well, here I'll have you round it up, and then I'll give you some overall thoughts on the weekend. So.
Yeah. Probably the biggest game, I would say, ranked wise, this week, or last week, I should say, was our number 4 Winfield Mount Union Wolves taking on number 3 Central City 8-player game. Probably the biggest 8-player game, I would say, in the state last week.
Big time.
huge win for Winfield Mount Union, 44. I didn't even put the final in here. What was it, 44-36?
44-36, Winfield Mount Union. Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to put the score on this roundup. So if you read that and you were like, "Oh, where's the score to the game?" My fault.
Down to here on Sports Talk.
Yep. But really, it was a close one. Throughout, it was tied 8-8 after one. But then Winfield Mount Union followed up with a big final 3 quarters there to edge Central City 20-16. That was in the second quarter, actually, because that was a high-scoring game there. So Winfield outscored Central City 20-16 in the second quarter and would never lose the lead the rest of the game. Huge game for Cam Buffington for first out for him. Rushed for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns on 17 carries. Reeled in 3 passes for 81 yards and 3 scores. Jake Edwards went 11 for 19. Jake Edwards running the quarterback spot this year.
Yes, they have made a switch.
It was Cole Milks last year.
And Cole got a couple carries, so they've switched up who's throwing the rock.
Yeah, so Jake Edwards, 11 for 19, 212 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also rushed for a touchdown as well. Carter Lloyd reeled in 39 yards. Cole Milks, 44 yards. Abram Edwards, 48 yards. And they all at least caught 2 passes as well. And Buffington led the way defensively with 15.5 tackles and 1 fumble recovery. So a huge statement win there for the Wolves.
Big time.
Yeah, another big game for last year's state runner-up. No, it was number 10 Waco, and now it's number 5 Waco.
Yep. As of the rankings, it'll be out in the Union tomorrow, but on the website today.
So they pick up a big win over last week's number 7 ranked 8-player team, Fremont Mills, 26-20. The Warriors and Knights were knotted at 6 after 1, but the Warriors scored 6 unanswered in the second, and both squads finished with 14 the rest of the way out between the third and fourth quarter there. Hence giving Waco that 6-point edge there for a huge victory, which has propelled them into the top 5. The last of our wins of last week of our area teams was a game between 2 of our teams. You like this little rivalry.
Yeah,
you've seen it past couple of years. Pekin 20, Cardinal 2. Not too much.
Game.
Yeah, not too often do you see a 20-2 game, especially a team scoring 2 points.
12-2 at halftime. I know that one better.
But Pekin scored all 20 of its points in the first 3 quarters, and then the Comets got that safety early on there. Like you mentioned, it was 12-2 early. Will Adam led the way, 149 passing yards on the night, and he finished with 48 rushing yards as well for Pekin. Sven Dahlstrom rushed for 74 yards, 1 touchdown. He also had 6 receptions for 71 yards. And then Robert Brown had 70 receiving yards as well with 2 catches. Alton Williams, Cal Miller each had 7.5 tackles, and Henry Adam had 1 interception as well. A couple of tough losses for our one of our higher ranked teams in the preseason rankings. Number 4 last week, Class 1A, Sigourney Keota falls to 2A's PCM Monroe. PCM Monroe was receiving votes. I believe they were like the 12th or 13th team in Class 2A voting wise. They have now jumped into the top 10 in 2A there, but really the Cobras held kind of the advantage for much of the game, and it really came down to like the final quarter there. The Cobras led 15-7, but at the half, and then the Mustangs shut them out in the final 2 quarters there, while scoring 15 themselves in those 2 quarters, and giving them the edge there, that 22-15 win. So Sawyer Stout led the Cobras 36 passing yards. We know they like to run the ball. Stout also ran for a team high 67 yards. Isaac Bruns, Cale Clarahan each had over 40 yards rushing as well. Cole Kindred caught 1 pass for 37 yards. And defensively, Jake Moore finished with 6.5 tackles in the loss. Van Buren County falls to Central Lee 35-8. Central Lee pretty much controlled the majority of this one. They led Van Buren County 28-0 at the half. And really the Warriors just couldn't make up the difference. They put up 8 in the third, but it just wasn't enough in the end to get on top of that deficit there. Another kind of lopsided victory here. North Cedar downs Highland 38-6. The Huskies were down 20-6 after 2 quarters Friday night. did as much as they could to try to get back on top, but just couldn't find the points, and North Cedar continued to tack it on there for that win. A little shutout loss for Mid Prairie here in their first week of action. Wilton 13, Mid Prairie 0. Brady Weber finished with 114 yards passing for the Golden Hawks. He also rushed for 50. Hudson Ehrenfeld ran 19 times for 85 yards, almost at 185 yards. Receiving wise, Ehrenfeld led the way with 57 yards on 4 catches. And Kobe Hirschberger ended with 27 yards with 4 catches. Defensively, Caden Kos had a team high 13.5 tackles. And their final game here is New London heading up to Easton Valley. The Tigers fall in this one 61-22. They trailed just 14-8 after one quarter, but the Riverhawks scored 24 unanswered in the second, and then 7 more in the third and 16 in the fourth for that big win over the Tigers there. So, a couple of big wins for our 8-player teams, and Pekin's A, right? Or they won.
Yeah, Pekin's is A. Yes.
So for Pekin, but 3 of our teams get some big wins, and then little disappointment for some of our other squads there. But
yeah, it was not the winningest week of Union area football. We had 4 wins, and 2 of those wins were university games. Let's hit the way back machine, Hunter. I'm going to take you all the way back.
Take me back
to October 2nd, 2015. A young sports editor named Andy Krutzinger has come to one of his first football games. It's Winfield Mount Union at New London. Winfield 46-14 on their way to a big playoff run. Ended with a really long field goal. It was devastating, but let's not talk about that. It's 46-14 Winfield. That was in New London. Since then, New London has won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games over their Henry County rivals to the north. Friday night could be Winfield's first win in the rivalry since that night, since my first year. Winfield has all the experience and all of the momentum after last week. New London certainly played a really good team to get them ready for that one. That one's exciting. Iowa Valley is a team that I ranked in the Class 8-man poll. They did not make it in, did they? Yes, they did. They're tied for 10th in the 8-man poll, which means Waco has another top 10 ranked game this weekend, Waco versus Iowa Valley. And then we have Mediapolis hosting Sigourney Kyoto.
Yeah.
Big game.
Playoff game from last year rematch.
Yes.
Sigourney Kyoto won it in overtime.
Yeah. So a crazy game.
Yeah. You were at that one, were you?
No, I was at cross country, but I covered it on on the live stream. I remember that someone said a not so nice word because they were very excited that Sigourney Kyoto had won in the booth. It was very funny. Speaking of rivalries where the two teams really don't like each other, Mid Prairie headed to Regina Catholic. Big rivalry there. We got Pekin at Van Buren County. We have Columbus at Wapello, as you mentioned earlier. We got Highland at Danville, Cardinal at Central Lee. So we have quite a few big games coming up.
Big slate
this weekend. Big slate. Another, that happens because when they don't get in the same district, they're going to play each other in the off season, so you're going to get some big ones. So we might have one of us definitely going to Washington and Burlington. The other one might be running around just a little bit. I don't know. We'll see, because there's a lot of games to get to.
Yep.
But there's also a lot of content to get to if you're watching Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk Live, because you're probably sitting there thinking, fall sports, is that only football? Is football the only fall sport?
No, it's not. We got a couple more, don't we?
We sure do. And after these commercials, we are going to talk about the state of volleyball and cross country in the Southeast Iowa Union coverage area. So be back.
We'll be back.
Family owned and operated by Andy and Sarah Ross, Ross Auto has been your vehicle repair and maintenance headquarters since 1935. We specialize in all makes of cars and light-duty trucks. With our variety of available services, let us help you keep rolling and your vehicle operating efficiently. Services include general auto repair, alignments, brakes, fuel injection, and more. Schedule your appointment today at 319-653-5656. That's 319-653-5656.
At 5 Star Community Credit Union, we want to help you lead a better life. We offer competitive rates and convenient appointment times for all kinds of loans: auto, recreational vehicles, home equity, line of credit, holiday, and personal loans. We make it easy to build your credit and enjoy the good things in life.
We invite you to join 5 Star Community Credit Union. We are community-minded and member-focused. Come visit our locations in West Burlington and Mount Pleasant or online at 5starcu.org. Federally insured through the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
At Brown Shoe Fit, we pride ourselves on traditional sit and fit service that's been serving the Mount Pleasant area since 1952. At Brown's, we have shoes for the whole family. From kids to adults, we carry the finest footwear for every occasion. Whether you're looking for something for work, casual wear, or exercise, we've got you covered. And don't forget about our selection of safety toe footwear for both men and women. Come visit us 6 days a week and experience the best in traditional sit and fit service. Brown Shoe Fit, where quality and tradition meet.
Bring the kids and share the memories from steam engines, antique cars and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Maybe your memories are of great food from the North Village to the Log Village, or learning how to square dance over at the Dance Barn. This is the place where memories are made. Make plans now to enjoy the history of the past at the 2023 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 31st through September 4th in Mount Pleasant. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
Welcome. Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk live. Southeast Iowa's leading video podcast. Video sports podcast.
There you go.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
We're the only one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Only one that you guys know about. The only one I know about. That's all that matters. We're going to talk a little bit of volleyball and a little bit of cross country.
Yes.
What should we start with, Hunter? Volleyball, right?
Yeah, we can.
Yes. We got a big volleyball week coming up.
Yeah, we got some
Finally,
SEC.
we have some conference games.
Yeah, SEC action last night.
Yeah,
we got a little
some
taste
SEC
with
action tonight.
We got a little action last week with Mount Pleasant and Burlington last week.
Yes, you were there.
Kind of kick it off, but
yeah, how did that turn out, Mount Pleasant and Burlington? It was at Burlington. And Burlington's the defending regular season champs. But
yeah, it was a tough out for the Panthers. Got swept. I'd have to look up that.
I knew
the finals, but
that's why I pulled back on my I soft tossed you one.
Yeah,
I remember that they lost, so I pulled back a little bit on my.
But yeah, it was a tough out for the Panthers in that one. They fell in 3 sets to them. I'm on my way to finding the actual scores.
You want me to do Mid Prairie and Washington first?
You can, but the finals were 25-7 for the Greyhounds, 25-14, and 25-16. Really, it was the difference in the. Actually, we talked about this on the last show. That was on Monday.
Oh, that was on Monday. You went to see Mount Pleasant and Burlington.
Yep. So you already know if you're watching. You already know about this one.
No, that can't be right.
Yep, it was, because I remember talking about it.
Oh.
Now that I looked at it.
Was that when I wanted to watch Mid Prairie and Washington?
Yep.
We already talked about Mid Prairie and Washington last week.
Yep. That was on Monday too.
That was last Monday?
Here.
Oh my gosh, this has been a quick week. I was all ready to talk about
let me tell you.
Mid Prairie and Washington.
I'm on Mid Prairie volleyball right now.
Yeah, tell me what day that was.
Never mind. Mid Prairie and Washington was on Thursday.
Yeah, did you go somewhere else on Thursday? Maybe I was the only one.
Yeah, I was a Cardinal and Cardinal.
There we
Sigourney
go.
Kyoto.
See, that confused me.
Yeah.
All right, well, now
We were all discombobulated there.
to talk about Mid-Prairie and Washington because I was excited to go up to Wellman. Mid-Prairie is one of the most exciting volleyball teams this year. And they're playing Washington, which we know is one of the more up-and-coming, one of the teams that lost the least from their team last year. And Washington girls sports in general, you probably can't find a girls sport that isn't going to improve this year because of how many young, talented kids they had coming back. Washington certainly gave them a hard one in the first set, 25-20. It was pretty electric atmosphere in the first set. Pretty well played, a little sloppy towards the end. There are a little too many service errors, which you kind of see early in the volleyball season. But Mid-Prairie really buckled down the last two. They ended up winning 25-20, 25-13, and 25-17. I was very impressed with the depth, which I knew they had depth at the net for Mid-Prairie. Harper Pecha had a big day. She was probably the most eye-popping as far as every time she got a kill attempt, it seemed like it went straight down to the floor. She ended up with 11 kills. Jovi Evans had a triple-double, 20 assists, 10 digs, 10 kills. You don't see that often in volleyball. Avery Helmuth had 14 assists. So it was a nice little night from the Golden Hawks. It was a pretty short game. They run stuff really well at Mid-Prairie. Love their announcer. It gets going pretty quick. Taylor Mix from Washington had 5 kills, and Leighton Messner had 4. Bella Salazar with 8 digs, and Lauren Henriksen with 5 assists. Tripped myself up a little bit there. So that was the game I was at. And then Washington was actually with Mount Pleasant and Fairfield at the Grinnell tournament this weekend. Washington beat Mount Pleasant in 3 sets. All of those teams came back with 3 wins. So maybe a little bit of, and that's a 3-set out of a 3-set. It's a 3-set match. So they went to the final tiebreaker. So maybe a little bit of parity in the Southeast Conference this year, judging by just how that worked out. But now, what are you talking about now? You saw Cardinal. You saw Cardinal play against.
Cardinal was taking on Sigourney. Yep.
I saw Sigourney Sigourney doesn't have. They're not technically a team we cover. We cover Sigourney Kyoto football. They're not usually burning up too much in volleyball. They looked really good at the Waco tournament. They made the 3rd place game, and then I sent you to the Cardinal game thinking that Cardinal might be 50-50 with them, maybe even favored from what they brought back last year. But Sigourney was pretty impressive this year. Huh?
Yeah, it was. I think it was kind of one of those things where Cardinal did bring a lot back, and it was just kind of, I think it was those early season kind of getting the rust off. It was actually kind of a dominant performance from the Savages in this one. I love saying that. 25-13, 25-22, and 25-13 once again there in those 3 sets for a Sigourney win or Sigourney sweep. And really, kind of the biggest thing was just too many errors for the Comets. I feel like it wasn't really even Sigourney didn't hit some hard balls, but there was a lot of just miss hits, missed serves and serve and receive errors there that kind of led to the loss for Cardinal there. And it was one of those things where I kind of the same thing I said with Mount Pleasant and Burlington. They would give up a big lead in the beginning, fight back to within 1-2 points, even tied it up at one point, and then they would go on another run, and it was just then the deficit became too big once again, and they just couldn't come back. That's what I kind of saw from Cardinal there. So despite the loss, it's first game of the season, obviously a lot more volleyball to be played. So I think obviously as the season goes on, teams get better, and I think that's the situation with Cardinal, just kind of finding their identity, just finding that, sticking to it, and just getting better as it goes on.
I talked about this a little bit last year, but Cardinal really got a rough deal going to the South Central Conference, both in volleyball and softball, because the South Central Conference that they'll be playing in again this year, just happened to be really peaking in those 2 sports. So. But Cardinal has a lot back from last year, so I'm sure that they'll pull it together. Early in the volleyball season, the product you see is a lot different than late in the volleyball season. There are a lot more missed serves and stuff like that, so we'll see tonight if that's the case. Oh, wait, should we flip for where we're going?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mount Pleasant's on the road tonight in Keokuk. Why did I start saying all the games like I knew them right off the top of my head? But Fairfield and Washington are both at home.
Yep.
Hunter and I will be at Fairfield and Washington tonight.
Yes, we will.
Heads.
Hunter heads to Washington. Yes.
Tails, Hunter heads to Fairfield. I'll be the other place. We usually do this at the end of the thing. So
yeah, we'll do it now.
Heads, Hunter, Washington. Tails, Hunter, Fairfield. Tails, Hunter, Fairfield. I'll be in Washington. Hunter will be in Fairfield.
Yes.
And I believe...
I think they take on Fort Madison.
Fort Madison. Washington plays B-Town.
And Fort Madison's 0-4, I believe, but they played at the Bondurant tournament with some tough opponents, so I think that record's a little bit deceiving.
Yeah. Sometimes those volleyball records, when they go after those volleyball... the tournaments are always going to have teams that are pretty similar.
Yep.
A little cross country for you. Washington finally got
hold on. We had the tournaments roundup. You want me to do that?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Volleyball tournaments this weekend.
Yeah. You're good. I'll just run through it real quick. Mid Prairie and Van Buren County, only 3 teams in action over the weekend. Mid Prairie, Van Buren County, both were at the Central League tournament. Winfield Mount Union was at West Branch. Obviously, the Wolves lost a ton of talent for a mostly senior-led lineup last year. Mid Prairie, pretty successful weekend at Central League. West Burlington was there. Those two teams always seem to do battle. The Golden Hawks lost just one match. That was to West Burlington, 2-0 loss. They did split on the weekend. Mid Prairie also got them with a 2-0 win. So other than that, they never dropped another set. The rest were sweeps. Down Van Buren 21-16, 21-14, Keokuk 21-14, 21-12, and Central League 21-13 and 21-12. The Golden Hawks are now 5-1 on the season. Van Buren County, they bowed out of the tournament after a pair of losses. Some tough squads to go against. They went against West Burlington, lost 21-12 in both sets, and then lost to Mid Prairie 21-16, 21-14. And those 2 losses were the first of the season for Van Buren. Obviously, you saw them play great in the Waco tournament there.
Yes, they sure did.
And then Winfield Mount Union got just one win at a tough tournament at West Branch. They got a win over Prince of Peace in 2 sets, 21-6, 21-12, and then they ran into some tough competition in Don Bosco. Lost 21-12, 21-15. Host West Branch, 21-13, 21-9, and last year's state tournament team, I believe, Eddyville, Blakesburg, Fremont, who brought a lot back. 25-14, 25-16. So early in the season here, Wolves are 1-4. But yeah, that's a tough tournament to go and play at. So
yeah, Wolves almost beat Keokuk earlier this week. Had a tough fourth play. By the way, we said something just a second ago that I felt was wrong when we were saying it, and confirmed that we were wrong. Burlington is at Fairfield tonight. Fort Madison's coming up to Washington. So we said that, and I was like, that sounds.
Oh yeah,
incorrect.
I have that on there on my. I was looking at my preview schedule, and Washington will take on Fort Madison. So I messed up.
We'll get some stuff wrong.
They all blend.
Every once in a while, we'll fix our mistakes.
And Fairfield and Burlington, that should be a really good matchup.
Yeah, that's Fairfield and Burlington. You're seeing a rematch of last year's conference championship.
Both teams finished 8-2 in the conference, 8-3 in the conference.
I remember watching Fairfield take back the SEC crown over Burlington in that tournament down in Fort Madison. So Washington cross country was in Anamosa over the weekend. A lot of really good teams. Some ranked teams. Girls finished second to Solon. Those are the top 8 teams. Washington and Solon. The Demons were led by Quincy Griffiths. She got 12th place overall. Lauren Horak was right behind her. Iris Dahl finished 17th in that. So a little bit of a mix-up in your top 3. Quincy Griffiths back to leading the Demons in that one. I think Iris beat her in all the races last year. Isabel Luan, 20th. Kendall Hendrickson, 21st. And Abigail Cleese, 23rd. So once again, Demon girls showing that pack running style where every single girl gets there in the top 25. The boys got 3rd. Cedar Rapids Kennedy was there. They're very, very good. They won Solon 2nd. Washington 3rd. Micah Reese has a 2nd place, has a silver on his record so far this year, only by 3 seconds. Almost got his first one of the year. I'm sure he'll have plenty more later on.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Tyler Aldrin and Andrew Reese finished 9th and 10th. Lane Schrock 19th. Sawyer Chance 25th. Kale Maliki 28th. And Andrew Shepard finished 41st. So 2 top 3 finishes for the Demons. There'll be a little more cross country coming up finally.
Yeah, the Mid Prairie girls were in action last night. I know that. Iowa City West. I'm just looking at Twitter at this, so people were posting about it. But Daniel Hosteller, defending 3-time 2A champion, got her first victory this season. And as a team, pretty nice performance for the Golden Hawks, who are, I believe, rated. They were rated number 1 as a team, or
I believe so. I'll check that out.
I think there, but they got third in the meet. Going against some pretty big schools: Dubuque, Hempstead, Iowa City Liberty, Iowa City West, and Bettendorf there. So third place finish for them there, and looks like they got first place 16th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and 23rd and 31st there in that meet. And as I said, Mid-Prairie, as Daniel Hosteller takes first overall, first win of the season, and she's looking to four-peat, would be the second Iowa girl ever to be a 4-time champion across country. So
yeah, pretty good shot for Miss Hosteller there. So yeah, man, that was a packed show. We have fall sports hit you, and they hit you over and over.
It's going to be packed
again.
rest of the fall.
Right. Are you prepared to take some volleyball pictures tonight? We might have some longer games tonight. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep.
But yeah. Should we just end it with a yeah? Oh wait.
Yeah.
We got anything else to say to our fans?
Shout out New London's London
Schulte.
Yeah, Cooper Schulte, New London star shortstop from their state title team 2 years ago. He's heading to Iowa next year to play baseball. One more spring season down in Central Arizona, but heading to Iowa next fall. So
that's gonna be awesome. That is gonna be awesome.
That story will be next week sometime.
Yes, it'll be next week sometime. And we have what was I gonna say? Oh, so I was watching one of my favorite shows the other day. I want all my friends to see it.
Uh-oh.
I was trying to figure out while I was watching it, like, how can all my friends see this thing that I consume and that I like and that I support the creators of?
What'd you say?
You weren't paying attention. I was gassing you up to say, oh, you share it. Oh, that's right.
Oh, you share it. My bad. Yes.
Like and share this channel.
You got
me.
Didn't
Get the 100 shares.
You got me when I was watching my favorite show last week. I didn't even to share it with you.
I started talking about my life, and Hunter just tunes out. Like, share. We're going to have a lot of big shows this year. Obviously, football season is pretty popular, so we're going to get that right next week. But tell all your friends. And we will, on behalf of Fairway Food Stores, Hunter, Alex, and the entire Southeast Iowa Union, and the entirety of Southeast Iowa.
We'll see you in
next week, guys.